Hello and welcome to today's feature presentation from Stahls TV, 5 ways to overcome price objections when selling apparel. I'm Josh Ellsworth from Stahls TV, and I'll be with you for the next 45 minutes or so to help navigate price objections. We have a good turnout today because it's a popular topic. Price objections and really price pressure is something a lot of companies see in their business multiple times a day or perhaps throughout the week. And hopefully we'll be able to give you some tips today to protect your cash flow and really to meet these price objections head on with a strategy. So I have a PowerPoint presentation today that we'll spend most of the time in, and appreciate you typing in questions as you have them throughout today's presentation. We have Karen Squibb that's going to be helping me, and if a question comes in, we'll stop several times throughout to try to help you through that. So without further ado, let's jump right into the presentation. So the number one way that I have here to overcome price objections when selling apparel is to really get out in front of the price objection. And so I've listed that there in green as prevent price objections from happening by getting specific and creating real value. And so this is basically defining a target customer. So I have the little graphic on screen there that allows you to hone in on a specific customer type and really identifying who you want to sell to. And so although this isn't necessarily a way to overcome the objection itself, it's a way to get in front of the process and really define some real value for a specific customer. This will reduce your price objection substantially by having a value, a product, an offer for a specific target. And so I'm going to give you some specific strategies to do that. So right now, I visited a lot of apparel decoration shops. One that I actually just visited in North Central PA called Moose's Enterprises pretty much serves the local community, and it's in most cases a one-size-fits-all offer. And so what I would encourage you to do, even if you happen to sell to everybody or everybody in the local community as your customer, start to break them out into different segments so you can create real value in an offer for each specific segment. So you can group these. So I've defined some target markets or potential markets to sell decorated apparel to on the screen there. You probably understand your customer base better than I do, but try to segment your customer base off by what they value as part of the offer. So for instance, once you pick a target market, then it's about creating what you will sell them. And this is really going to help you meet that market with their needs and command not only a higher price, but command a price that meets less objections when it comes to the selling price. And so things you may want to consider after you define a target market is really defining an offer inclusive of the garment styles you want to reach them with. So for instance, if you're selling to, let's say, a fashion-forward restaurant or a bar and a restaurant that's a little trendier, you're probably not going to go in with your basic unisex t-shirt. You would take that market and you would define some garment styles that are a little more trendy, perhaps a tri-blend shirt or maybe a racerback tank or some different style that's going to appeal to the workers and the employees and to the style and the goals of that restaurant. So define garment styles that meet your target market. Create artwork that's specific to that target market. For instance, in that case, they may value foil-like materials or more trendy finishes on the garment or tonal prints versus just a basic, white text with a block font. Also, define pricing that's specific to that, and ultimately take this combination of offer and target segment and make it a program. And so this is really becoming more intentional about defining your target customer and then going out and attracting the type of customers that you want in your business. And so I always say that you can wait for customers to come in, sort of if you build it they will come, in other lies, or you can go out and get the exact type of customer you want. So if you define an offer that's relevant to trendy restaurants or just restaurants and bars in your areas, then being able to go out and sort of replicate that process through prospecting, marketing, attracting the type of customer you want. This is going to offer you a lot of price protection when it comes to creating that value, because if you think about it, if you value certain things from a particular store or company, and they meet you basically with a checklist and hit all of those specific things, it's exactly what you want. So you're going to be a lot less likely to try to negotiate price, because ultimately they've already thought about your wants, your needs, your desires, and they create a product that you just have to have, or that stands out above the rest, because it's not a one-size-fits-all offer. It's tailored, specific to your desires and needs. So that's the number one way to prevent price objections, is to really get out front of your offer. The number two way to overcome price objections when selling apparel right now that we're going to show you is defining the customer's budget up front. Sounds simple, but you wouldn't believe how many shops and salespeople in any industry miss this. It's a very simple question to define the customer's budget up front. And so, for instance, when you're selling decorated apparel and you have a new customer that would approach you or come into your store or submit an inquiry through your website, just basically asking the question, what's your budget for this polo shirt? What's your budget for this t-shirt job? They have a specific quantity, a specific design in mind, but they also have a specific price point in mind in most cases. And now you may get the comment of, well, your lowest price, when you ask what their budget is, because a lot of people are leery of sort of the sales presentation and what you're trying to get to. They may think you're trying to charge more than what or put them into a product that makes more for you. And that doesn't always have to be the goal. It's really just understanding, hey, we have 100 different choices from blank apparel styles, and we have 20 different choices on decoration techniques, all of which are going to come into different price points. So just really taking the time to explain that I want to make sure I select some choices that are going to fit your budget for this program. And so the number two way to overcome price objection is really just to define a budget up front, and then you'll have the choice. Are you able to craft an offer that meets that budget? Or in some cases, the budget just won't be enough. So you'll be able to save yourself a lot of headaches, a lot of hassle, and a lot of time by not even going after the business. I mean, if they have $5 to invest into a t-shirt and they only need 12 pieces, do you really want to spend the time sourcing, ordering, coming up with art to make no profit? And so you'll be able to sort of weed out the requests that are going to be unprofitable for your business by simply asking the question, what is your budget for this particular decorated shirt, decorated hat, whatever it may be. Okay, so let's take a look at the number three way here. The number three way to overcome price objections when selling apparel is, once again, is the preventative step here through your presentation of price. So actually the way that you present price, not only through your printed pieces, but how you deliver pricing verbally, is going to make a difference to the amount of objections you get and the way your customers respond. So you see the little price tag on the screen there. It has a very simple statement: the price is. It doesn't leave any sort of out or wiggle room in the way you deliver pricing to the client, just simply saying the price is this. By delivering it in a powerful statement like that, you immediately give the idea that you've done due diligence to come up with the price, and there's not room for negotiation when it comes to the price. And now sort of another way to do this that I'm going to show you on this slide is to put pricing and price breaks into print. So spend the time, and all of this, the way to overcome price objections, as you may have gotten the theme here, it's going to require work on the front end for your business, but just coming up with a price strategy and putting pricing and price breaks in print. Once it becomes, a printed piece, it becomes more of a rule that the sales people within your company or you can have in your hand, and it becomes a lot less negotiable because all of the discounting has been thought through, and it's based on things like quantity, or there's pricing for additional locations. So there's a lot less a la carte pricing, and everything can fit into a particular presentation. So you see on the screen here, very simple screen printing price grid where you see price breaks from this particular company as quantity goes up. You see costs going up as color count goes up. So depending on your decoration process, you can build different grids for your different decorating techniques. And then I've also listed there some things to keep in mind as you are creating these price grids, or this way you'll present pricing. Number one at the bottom of the screen there is make it simple, and then make it simpler. So the idea is you want your pricing when you start to put it in print to be easy to approach. So create it and then come back, think about it, and then try to go back after it and make it even simpler. So a lot of times, that's a price grid for this grouping of garments. And you can choose any of these garments, and here's the price. It includes decoration, includes the garment, and so it's a simple one price for the decorated good, includes decoration or one location. And then just as the company in the example put, add $2 for second location. You can make it simple by just having a upcharge for additional placements and not having to recreate the wheel every time. The other tip you see there is include quantity breaks, include additional locations or colors if necessary, and all in with the blank garment. So basically, trying to make it as intuitive and simple as possible. That way, when you present price and you say the price is this, and here's how we arrived at that price in this pricing grid, but you know what? You're ordering 20 pieces. If you can get up to 25 pieces, we can save you this much. And so immediately you're saying, here is the way you get a lower price. Here is the way you get a discount. And so by getting in front of that and giving the customer a path to save, you don't have to devalue the quantity, the price point that you're presenting. So it's just taking control of the situation, and you can only do that through preparation and being able to deliver the price up front. So that's one of those ideas. The number 4 way to overcome price objections when selling apparel is to create an economy option, or in this case, a good, better, best. And so the idea here is that when you're selling apparel, typically if you present one choice, the customer is going to ask for savings on that one choice, even if you present it as the price is and have your quantity breaks. Often, they say, can I get that for a couple dollars less, or I would move forward if you could give me a 10% discount. Come on, I'm your friend or I'm your family, let me get the discount, sort of thing. And so by having an economy option, or what I would call sort of a fallback position, if you start to get those price objections, you can really win more deals and protect your profit margin. And so there are a variety of ways to do that. Number one is you can just have, here's this basic t-shirt style, here's a single color print, and you can get this price on this single color print. And that's a way to save if you have some particular budget constraints. I can get you into this t-shirt, this one color print at this price, and that's our economy option. And you've already taken the time to think through the pricing and the cost of that so you can make money. The other option is really to take what the customer is requesting, which we would call a better option or middle of the road option, and then present an economy option. And then also, one of the goals is to be able to upsell customers to make more profit. So the margin may be the same on a $20 garment as it is a $30 garment, but the profit per piece can be radically different at the same margin as you go up in price. And that's why it's important to present a best option as well. All right, so we're going to stop and take a question or two because I'm rolling through at a quicker pace than I even imagined. So Karen, any questions coming in?
What kind of materials would you choose for the good, better, best options, specifically premium plus fashion film and glitter?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's a variety of ways to do good, better, best. I'm going to actually show you a slide and a video on how you can do good, better, best in apparel styles. When you start to talk about decoration finishes, and let's say you're in the same category, the question that came in happens to be CAD cut, if you're cutting on a vinyl cutter and decorating apparel. So if I were positioning CAD cut decoration options only as good, better, best, I would present the best as a special effect finish. That could be glitter, it could be foil, electric, there's a variety of materials there that can be a best. It's a premium, it generates more of an impact when somebody's wearing it. You have the better, that can be your premium, sort of feels really nice on the garment option. Some people may put that as premium plus because it tends to feel softer than an economy option would on a garment. So I would put premium plus there right in the middle of the road. And a product like fashion film, Econoprint Sport Film Light could be the good in that case, where you can present a savings. So oftentimes it's tough to draw enough difference on just decoration styles between like a fashion film or premium plus, because to most they feel, and look similar. So you can decide if you want to have any differentiation there. Another idea would be is you could present the basic finish as the good, the special effect finish as the better, and maybe a mixed media technique as the best. And so hopefully that answers the question. Any additional questions coming in at this time? Okay. So what I'd like to do is let's look at it from an apparel standpoint. We'll go back to the slideshow here and give you a sample of good, better, best just with blank apparel styles. And this is probably the easiest way to do it, is by having different apparel styles. So you can see I've pulled just 3 garments from Sanmar that would be representative of good, better, best when a customer comes in and wants to order an embroidered or a heat printed polo shirt. And so you can see with the middle of the road there, which would be sort of exactly what the customer asked for, would be the OGIO 100% poly piqué performance polo. Very nice quality garment. And then we're presenting something perhaps that's a price down or an economy option, which would be the Gildan 100% cotton piqué polo. But then we're presenting also a premium. So if the customer wants to represent a better known brand such as a Nike, they can jump up in quality and perceived value or price point and move to a Nike garment. So just being able to present 2 or 3 choices to a customer, just as a general tip, don't present 20 different choices. Try to simplify it and then make it simpler. And I find good, better, best is a great way to do that. And for a little more detail when it comes to blank apparel and why you may want to adopt this strategy, I want to turn it over to a video pre-recorded by Holly Rocks of Sanmar, where she came into Stalls TV and presented this exact concept.
When deciding on what staples to bring into your shop, it's important for you to understand who your client base is. There's no reason to stock a number of wovens or outerwear if you rarely present them to your customer. What is important is, once you understand your customer base, is to provide a good, better, best selection for them so that they have an opportunity to choose and you have an opportunity to save your margin. Let me explain what I mean when I talk about good, better, and best. An item that falls into the good category is really value priced for that budget-driven customer. It may not have all of the features that the customer's looking for, but it certainly will be falling under that dollar value that they've asked. A product that falls into the better category is really that kind of that slam dunk piece. This probably would have been the piece that you would have presented. Fits all of the requirements the customer's looking for, has the colors they need, the performance features they need, and really is right there within budget. A product that fits into the best category is really the best product our industry has to offer. It will have elevated features that the customer may not have even asked for, and it will usually consist of a retail or a branded piece. The benefit of offering a good, better, best situation is it allows you to protect your margin. When I mentioned that better option, and that's the one that you would actually start with a customer, very often the customer sees that piece, knows that it fits everything they're looking for, but may ask for a little bit less in the price. Instead, you have 2 options there. You can either offer that piece discounted and lose a little bit of your margin, or now you've got a good piece to go back to. This way the customer sees the value in that price difference and is able to make the choice based on the features that they need and whether the dollar value fits that. In the best category, it's always nice to offer an elevated piece. Again, customers may not even be thinking that that's something they need until a specific retail brand or a performance feature piques their interest, and it may actually get you a higher price sale.
So Holly gives some great ideas in the video there on how to do it from a blank apparel standpoint. And one of the things I like that she said best was just protecting the profit margin. So, you know, when somebody asks for a discount or basically gives you price pressure, really what's happening, unless you can find a more efficient way to do it that's based on quantity or moving them into a different style of blank or decoration that's going to save you money, really you're just compromising profit margin. Now, you can make a decision based on winning the business or your current available capacity to discount a product and extend that basically deplete that profit margin, but you want to make sure it's strategic in nature and that you're doing that for a reason. And so a lot of shops will just have a general rule that they don't discount, because when you start to discount, it can be a vicious cycle, and then all of a sudden word starts to spread, or that customer comes back, and then every order they're asking for a discount. So a lot of shops that I've worked with, the price is the price, and they're okay with letting certain accounts or business walk away because they know that the work they're completing is profitable work. Now, on the other hand, I've worked with a lot of shops, or have seen a lot of shops that have discounts only at certain times and seasons. And the beauty of this, it's a overall discount, and they're basically discounting the overall work and accepting less profit per piece or less profit margin to level out the peaks and valleys of their labor. So for instance, if a shop's really busy from September through December with retail holiday-like work for Christmas, sometimes during the spring season or low season in the summer, they'll basically try to get sales moving or pull sales ahead in the calendar by strategically offering some discounts. So I think having a plan for discounting, if you offer them, and if you do offer them, when you'll offer them, is going to really put your business in a better position, not only from a profit standpoint, but being able to maintain labor, workflow, staff throughout all seasons. And so that was on the blank apparel side. Let's take a look, a deeper look on how you can offer good, better, best when it comes to presenting it from a decoration side. And so this is a clip, or just a snip, I should say, from a video on Stahls TV. And what you're looking at here are 3 identical polo garments, and so the customer identified that they would want this specific polo in this specific color, but we're presenting good, better, best in a way that's going to protect our embroidery margin. So on the far right, you see our direct embroidery work, which takes a certain amount of time to stitch out, and we may have limited capacity on the embroidery machine, but you can see we have 2 heat applied options beside the embroidery. So embroidery is the best. Rather than providing a discount on the embroidery, we're going to present flock and a basic heat applied film finish in the same presentation. So when we deliver the embroidery price, we're also delivering a heat applied price. So if the customer does want to save money, I can offer them a savings, and we know heat applied graphics is going to offer increased throughput. We're going to be able to print these quicker and keep my embroidery machine free for more profitable jobs, rather than devaluing my machine time on the embroidery. So just a couple different ways. Hopefully you can get the concept there of presenting good, better, best, and how you can do that from the blank apparel standpoint, how you can do that from a decoration standpoint. Now, depending on the business model, I've also seen people present good, better, best in the form of delivery times, believe it or not. So if you have an online model where you're selling online, often the best means you're going to get quick production. We're going to expedite and turn this order in 2 or 3 days rather than the 5 to 7 that's standard. So being able to protect price by establishing a cost for turn time is another way I've seen it work. And so you're able to upgrade turn time if you have capacity without necessarily discounting profit margin on the actual piece. Any additional questions coming in at this time, Karen? I hear you typing over there, so I imagine there was one.
Do you have any advice for where viewers can source clip art for like licensed characters like Dr. Seuss or Rainbow Bright if they're looking into decorating children's apparel?
Typically, you know, if you want to get licensed artwork, there's typically licensed companies that carry license for a particular brand, or often a family of brands. I don't have any specific recommendations off the top of my head, but I tell you what, we'll research that for you quickly after the session and be able to give you a couple different ways to go. Good question. Yeah, carrying licensed stuff and selling licensed stuff is a great way to protect margin as well, because often they can't get it anywhere else, because you know, not many folks are carrying licenses for certain items. So university sales and that sort of thing, great potential there. Okay, our last and final way to overcome price objection when selling apparel is to confirm that price is the true objection. So in advance, this is the most salesy, if you will, of all of the techniques when it comes to overcoming price objections. And this is actually a technique that I've learned through going through Dale Carnegie sales training. And basically that training says that there are 4 types of objections that you can categorize all objections in the sales process into. There's price, there's delivery, there's quality, and there's loyalty to the supplier. And so basically the goal is to make sure that price is the true objection and the only objection to moving forward. And so this process that was taught in this class basically says that we need to make sure we get to a singular objection so that we can move forward. And one of these categories is how I'm going to get to the objection. And so you start to look at a process, and this is going to require you to sort of role play and follow along with me, but this is a process for identifying the true objection and really getting to a singular objection. So put yourself in the shoes of a sales conversation. The salesperson basically has just received an objection saying, can you lower the price, or can I get that for $1 cheaper, or at this price, or it's too expensive. So that's what we've just heard from the customer. The first line there, you see the salesperson stating back, so price is your primary concern, asking the question, and then the customer is going to give one of 2 responses. Usually they're going to say yes, especially if they just asked a question about lowering the price. But the key is, don't immediately go into trying to solve the objection. We want to make sure that this is the true objection that stands between the customer buying the product. And so we ask the follow-up question once they say price is the concern. If we can solve the pricing concern, then we can move forward right now, correct? And then we're going to wait on the customer's response. Now you're going to have to get comfortable with no noise and no talking, right? You may sit there for a few seconds or 10 seconds before you hear a response. Don't give the customer an out, wait for the response, because this is your chance to win the sale, move forward, and generate revenue for your business. So you want to make sure that you solving the pricing concern is going to result in them moving forward. That way we're not going to give them a lower price and then all of a sudden they're trying to negotiate delivery and all of these other things, or the print technique for quality. And so in this particular scenario, and we'll play it both ways here on the next slide, the customer answers no, that they wouldn't be ready to move forward if you solve the price issue. And then you ask the follow-up question, the salesperson, okay, there must be something else holding you back, and we're really trying to get to what the real, true primary objection is. And you can see the model customer response there. Well, I'm not comfortable using an iron-on vinyl for our business, right? So it's their perceived value of heat transfer in this case, or the product that we've presented. And so we respond, okay, it sounds like quality is the primary concern. I'm not going to solve that now. I'm not going to start telling them heat transfer vinyl is great and all these great things about the quality of our work. I want to make sure before I solve that objection that, once again, that is the primary true objection. If I solve it, we're going to move forward with an order. So I'm going to ask again, if I can prove to you that the quality of our products, if I can prove to you the quality of our products, should be a comma there, would you be able to move forward with placing the order? And then basically the customer would identify with yes, no. Basically it's a cycle until you get a yes, that this is the primary objection. If I solve this right now, we're going to move forward to an order. And we're trying to get all the other stuff out of the way. And so the last step of this, once you identify the true objection, is to create what's called a credibility statement and be specific. So a credibility statement is basically, I'll say a canned story, but it's an authentic story. It's not a made-up story. But come up with a story to overcome each of those 4 objection areas: the price, the quality, the delivery, and the loyalty to another vendor. Basically, we're going to sell this customer, overcome the objection with a credibility statement, or some people may call that a testimonial. So for instance, in this scenario where quality of an issue or the perceived quality of iron-on vinyl, we may come up with a story that this other customer had that concern as well, and you know what? They chose to go forward with us because we explained to them that heat transfer film is actually used on garments for the top brands out there, such as Under Armour for the NFL Combine, or used at the NFL Draft, or for All-Star jerseys at the NBA All-Star Game. And so basically they ended up going with the process, and you know what? they're one of my best customers. They continue to order because the quality of our vinyl products is top notch and we apply them with an accurate heat press. Now, are you ready to move forward? Basically, you're trying to get to a singular objection. That way you can solve it and move forward with the order. And then you're trying to give an authentic response in the form of a story or something that's happened in your business that you solved that quality issue already, because we know that the quality of vinyl or heat transfer film is top notch when done properly with accurate equipment. It's the goal of getting the customer comfortable with that as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop for questions before nothing coming in. Okay, so hopefully you're following this okay. This will always be recorded and you can watch it back on stallstv.com. I want to go back and look at another scenario where price is the primary concern. So let's look at that same scenario again, and the customer just said, hey, I need a better price, and we're saying as a salesperson, so price is your primary concern? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to solve it yet. I'm going to restate. So if we can solve the pricing issue or the pricing concern, then we can move forward right now, correct? And the customer confirms, yes, if we can solve that, then basically it's up to me to make a decision. If you have the back pocket margin that you've planned for and you can solve the pricing, or if you can say, you know what, if you'd only order 4 more pieces, we can get to your price, that's an option. But I prefer to try to maintain the price one time and solve it with the credibility statement. So you can say something like somebody else actually had a concern with price as well. And what we found that quality actually became the deciding factor. When we printed these garments for them, although they paid $1 or $2 more per piece than what they wanted to pay, the garments lasted them for 2 or 3 years. Or some sort of story that basically turns it so you are getting them excited, giving them a scenario where somebody else was concerned about price, but it wasn't that big of a concern because of what they were actually to achieve with your finished apparel and what quality or whatever you delivered that's your value proposition. And so when you do get into those scenarios where there's a true price objection and we're not able to solve it with our grid, or we're not able to solve it by creating something desirable through matching a product to a target market, that's a process that you can work through to try to solve it. There's a question.
What is a good way to cost the price of vinyl cutting or print and cut and screen printing?
So to cost the price, so to calculate costing, it's labor, plus materials times an overhead rate. And we have classes on Stalls TV that will show you the whole process to calculate that for vinyl cutting and print cut. And there's actually, under the resources tab on stallstv.com, there is a downloadable calculator where you can figure out the cost. When it comes to actually setting the selling price, there's a variety of factors. What I recommend is a pricing strategy that's inclusive of the profit that you desire per piece, especially if you have limited capacity in your decoration equipment, is setting a profit per piece, which of course has to be relative to market value and what you can command in your area. Because the price that it can sell for in LA may be different than the price that it can sell for here in a rural area such as Uniontown, Pennsylvania. To the good or the bad, from a profitability standpoint. So it's really understanding the cost and figuring out the profit per piece that you can charge. We do have a class. I'm going to pull it up real quick. See if I can go over to Stalls TV. See if I can figure it out here. Live events. It's under the archive live events. I know that. But there is a Get Profitable, Setting Pricing, and Selling Strategy class that I have somewhere here. So I'll find that. We can link it. But that's a great resource for going through to understand how to calculate costs and look at 3 different strategies for setting selling prices and adopting one for your business. I gave it. It explains that I'm not a big fan of the Keystone method because I think it leaves you short and doesn't take into account what you can sell it for in the market. And I'm not a big fan of pricing based on a minimum gross margin because I think it leaves you short and doesn't command good enough prices or doesn't take into account, profit per piece. Any additional questions? Okay, so I'm going to bring up one final slide here that's basically going to review the 5 different ways to overcome price objections when selling apparel, and I'm sure we can add to this, but hopefully you found at least one of these beneficial to help you command more profit in your business. And to review those, number 1 is to get in front of it by preventing price objections by establishing a specific target customer and creating real value. Number 2 is asking the simple question, what is your budget up front? And that will allow you to meet the budget with the product that they're going to be able to afford and want to afford. Number 3 is by presenting the price effectively. The price is this, or having a grid that shows quantity breaks and ways they can get to savings. The 4th is creating an economy option or a good, better, best. That way there is a way to save and there's a way to go up as well. And lastly, confirm that price is the true objection and having a credibility statement or a testimonial to overcome any of the 4 common objections that you may see in the sales process that sometimes aren't the true objections, getting to that singular objection and being able to overcome it. Any additional questions before we conclude today's class? All right, not bad. Got you out of here in 36 minutes. Thanks, as always, for watching Stahls TV. This is recorded and will be posted on stahlstv.com under the live events archive. And we'd encourage you to sign up for more classes. Just visit stahlstv.com. Thanks for watching.